President Modi has now arrived at the venue. That's Xi Jinping, Prime Minister Modi, along with Russian President Vladimir Putin. These are the pictures coming from the meeting venue just ahead of the SCO meeting. That's Prime Minister Modi with Russian President Vladimir Putin being welcomed by Xi Jinping. These are the visuals on your screens right now from the meeting venue, and the troika that we have been talking about since the last 2 days is on your screens right now. It's India, Russia and China. Xi Jinping welcoming Prime Minister Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin. They are also having a brief conversation just ahead of the SCO meeting. And remember, a bilateral is also all set to take place between Prime Minister Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin. So this brief discussion just ahead of the SCO meeting. These are the visuals, the live visuals on your screens right now from Tianjin, from the meeting venue where Prime Minister Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin and also Xi Jinping are holding talks. They are laughing, and these visuals of the troika, India, Russia and China on your screens right now. Prime Minister Modi along with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping being welcomed at the meeting venue. And now Prime Minister Modi is talking to Russian President Vladimir Putin, although the bilateral is also scheduled for today. But that's Prime Minister Modi, the Indian Prime Minister and the Russian President having a brief conversation just ahead of the big SCO meet. Gaurav continues to stay with us. Gaurav, we just saw the visuals of the troika, India, Russia, China together. Xi Jinping welcoming Prime Minister Modi and also Vladimir Putin at the venue. They also had a brief conversation.
And this is a picture that will make headlines tomorrow. This is a picture that will be talked about very extensively across the world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Chinese President Xi Jinping in one frame at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit. The Trilateral as a summit is not taking place this year, but even a brief photo op, they say a picture speaks louder than 1,000 words, and this is a picture that speaks much louder than 10,000 words. This is something that the Western bloc will actually be telling President Trump, is this what you were aiming for when you put in additional sanctions or tariffs on India? Is this what the effort was? And to a very large extent, India was compelled to recalibrate its rapprochement with China, though it had started in Kazan 2024. It predates the tariffs and the sanctions that America, the so-called sanctions that America imposed on India. However, there is no doubt that because of the 25% additional tariffs, India was forced to seek to normalize ties with China, perhaps faster than what India may have thought, or at a pace that India and China may look at this as an opportunity to improve ties between them that are mutually beneficial for the people of both the countries. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi put it, 1.4 billion people of India and 1.4 billion people of China, 2.8 billion people stand to benefit if India and China move forward and in an amicable way with peace at the borders. So this picture is indeed very, very powerful.
Gaurav, even after the photo op, the three leaders again had a quick chat, and it is also pertinent to note that just before Prime Minister Modi, it was Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif who was welcomed by Xi Jinping, but there was just a handshake and Pakistan Prime Minister moved on. But when it came to Prime Minister Modi and also Russian President, they had a quick chat. In fact, even after the photo op, the three leaders had a quick chat.
Because optics, it makes a very powerful optics when you have leaders of India, Russia and China on the same in the same frame talking to each other. And this is a picture that actually will make the West very nervous, because for 25 years the Western bloc had actually invested extensively in India, looking at India as a pivot to Asia, looking at India as a very effective counterbalance to expansionism in the region, and to ensure that the Indo-Pacific remains free for, sea lanes of communication remain free. However, with Donald Trump in the White House, all of that just went out of the window. Donald Trump follows a completely different thinking. For him, in a way, everyone just look at little signals that came. For him, from Indo-Pacific, it once again became Asia-Pacific. Whether it's Pete Hegseth or whether it's Caroline Levitt, the kind of terminology they were using, whether he'll come for the Quad Summit or not, it's still, there is uncertainty over this. So all of these are indications that President Trump is also looking at an independent deal of sorts with China. There are some who argue he's looking at a G2 model, which would be detrimental to America's long-term interests. But is there merit in many analysts arguing that President Trump thinks short-term gains and not long-term gains? He's built very differently, and that would it may be counterproductive for US in the long run, but he's only looking at short-term gains for himself and for his MAGA gang.